Hello and welcome back to Inside Quotes, the show where my brother and I rewatch, review, and relive the staples of our childhood. This is episode 93, and I'm your host Jeremy, and with me today is my older brother Jonathan. Jonathan, welcome back to the show.
I don't know what to say here. Quack quack, everybody. It's good to be back here on the show. Jeremy, what are we going to talk about today?
Oof. Oof. The 1985 movie, Oof. Oof.
Actually, Jeremy, it's pronounced Uff.
All right, buckle up, everyone. If you haven't seen this movie, this is going to be a weird one. Actually, if you have seen this movie, it's going to be a weird one. And the only person that we have that we feel is qualified, one of the people that we feel that are qualified to speak about this movie with us is our special guest today, Jason Mallo. Jason, welcome back to the show.
Hi, welcome back.
All right, shut up.
This is his first time.
First time. Hey, listen. No. It's okay. Long time listener.
Yeah.
First time guest. Big fan. When Jonathan said, he didn't know what to say, I was a little worried because I wanted to say his line for him. I wanted to say quack quack,
Go
everybody.
for it.
Okay, ready?
Jason, welcome back to the show.
Quack quack, everybody. It's me, Jonathan. See, it's Jonathan. See.
Got some competition.
Jonathan, it's super easy. Just
Should I be offended that I'm the only person you consider weird enough to talk about the movie Uff
No,
with?
I corrected myself. There's a couple people that I feel that are qualified for it.
That makes me feel a little bit better, but a little less special.
But you specifically asked to be on this episode. So
I did. Hey, I mean, again, longtime fan, and
Big Uff guy.
Big Uff guy. This movie is like a staple of my childhood. Not just like I really wanted to just
good. I was just gonna ask that.
No. It's definitely a staple. And that's what I love about your podcast. Two brothers talking about their staples. It makes me think about my brothers and my
their
staples
office supplies.
Yeah. Their office supplies.
Supplies.
Man, this movie is wacky and zany and weird, mainly because it's Weird Al Yankovic's movie.
I tell you, Weird Al was the second concert I ever went to.
Oh,
Ooh, tell me more.
Mm-hmm. The second concert, me and my mother drove from Chicago, Illinois to Iowa City, Iowa, which I didn't know such a place existed, but it was the nearest place that Weird Al was going on tour. This was right after the Mandatory Fun album had just dropped.
Yeah.
So it was like that tour, right? Iowa City had the highest ratio of size to absolute stink of a city. We could see the entire city from our hotel, and it smelled like sewage everywhere.
Oh, stink! No, it's just unpleasurable to be there.
Stink,
Okay.
like physical. Like it was fine. Like I guess like whatever. It was fine. But like I'm sorry, listeners, if you're from Iowa City, you town stinky. That's
Hey, we can talk though, because we live in Bowling Green, Kentucky, where it on every Thursday smells like dog food.
Yeah, every Thursday where it rains. But this was, I mean, just like an undeniable stink for a whole weekend. Concert was really fun, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did, like, costume changes. He played little clips on a huge screen of, like, every cameo he had ever done in a movie or a TV show. Like, in between his big set changes and stuff, he would just, like, play, like, a compilation of movies he had been in or had been referenced in.
His concerts, I think I've seen him 3 times. And the shows are, like, some of the best like shows you could go to. That he does full costumes. He comes out and like has the fat suit on for when he comes out and plays that. Like you said, he has like the clips in between. So when he's doing the costume changes, like there's always something going on to like keep the energy going.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really good.
My question is, obviously why would I question the weird man himself? But that's such a weird decision to choose Iowa City over Chicago, where you're from.
I mean, I could look up that entire, like, all the cities they went to, but if I remember right, like, all of them were, like, kind of, like, small-ish towns. No, like, really, maybe, like, a few big-ticket places, but...
So we saw him on that tour in Orlando.
Okay, so yeah, it was just, like, a moderately sized town. Yeah.
So that was, like, So my only experience seeing Weird Al was that same tour, and, I like to think of that as the end cap to my childhood.
Oh,
like that was the last night of my childhood, pretty much. Because
what happened
this
then?
was 2 days. Well, it's just 2 days before I moved in to my freshman year of college.
Oh, okay. That makes
So-
more sense.
Yeah, nothing bad happened.
That was the night I became a man.
My innocence was squashed.
But it was cool. He played at Universal at the
The Hard Rock.
Hard Rock.
Oh, cool.
Whatever it's called,
Yeah.
venue, something. It was really cool. And then everybody brought out their tin hats and everything, tinfoil hats.
Yeah, for
Oh,
foil.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cover of Lord's Royals.
And I was just like, all right, well, I'm just here for the hits. But
I think that era of Weird Al was my biggest fandom of Weird
Interesting.
Al. Like that was when I would when I was a kid, I didn't have like a tablet or a phone or anything. I had a laptop that like my grandparents had got me for I think going into 6th grade, so I could start doing more schoolwork as you know schools started to go more towards computers. I didn't have a desk or anything. I spent hours with my laptop placed on my bed and me kneeling on the floor at my laptop playing video games and watching Weird Al music videos were the two biggest things I did. And I watched every music video from that album just like over and over.
that's like the prior step of evolution to the iPad kid.
Yeah. No, kneeling like straight 90 degrees, legs down, full body upright,
That's so
laptop on my
uncomfortable.
bed. It was very uncomfortable, but I didn't have anything to compare it to, you know? I
So
didn't have
that
a
was-
desk.
That's when you became a fan? Is during that time?
No,
Or-
that's like
Just
my
peak.
peak fandom when I was the biggest Weird Al fan that I was.
Are you saying that, okay, so that when you were the biggest fan, that's just not your favorite era of him, if you will, to the Swifties out there?
I mean,
What's
for
your
the
favorite
Swifties.
Weird Al era?
Oh man, I mean, I really like this, you know, the UHF era.
Okay.
Like you kind of go based on his hair and glasses combo. is
Before
how
he
you
had the
define-
LASIK.
Yeah, before the LASIK.
And
Biggest
the
mistake
hair.
he's ever made, in my opinion.
And before the hair went all the way down,
Yeah.
right? Because there's like they went through eras of like short curly and then like the long curly,
Yeah.
and then long curly no glasses.
Yeah.
This like 80s era of Weird Al is big for me mostly because of this movie.
Yeah.
But then I would also say that like whatever mid 2010s I guess it was, because I think that's when he was like, this is my last like parody album ever. I want to say it was like some statement he made. I could be totally wrong about that, but that stuck with me. I was like, we gotta go see him on tour. This is like the end of the end. So I just because I was the most obsessed with all of those songs, it was like one of 8 CDs I've ever had in my life. I wasn't a big CD guy, but one I did have
Mandatory fun.
was Mandatory Fun.
Oh man.
And I
Nice.
played it all the time. So I'd say for me, it's like my biggest fandom.
Okay.
What about you, Jeremy? What is your favorite Weird Al album
Okay.
or era?
See, my era and album are different, I would say. Probably my era of Weird Al is the classic Weird Al show era.
Okay.
Like the 90s post UHF. The
Side
90s,
note, Jason, have you ever seen the Weird Al show?
No, I have not seen the Weird Al show. Tell me more right now.
Pause. We're going to watch it. You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
Now that we've watched
in-
it in its entirety, let's discuss.
In 1997, Weird Al had a kids' TV show on Saturday mornings that he hosted. And it had like 13 episodes and was canceled. And it's great. Me and Jeremy quoted a lot, actually.
Yes.
Wow. What are some big quotes that come out of this show for you?
I don't know. Oh, look, Bobby and the Inquisitive Boy.
Dad, I'm stuck again. And there's this kid stuck in a tire swing. And so his dad is like, "Oh, I'll help you." And he goes to the kitchen and just gets this huge jar like out of the cabinet, and it's just labeled as lard.
But it's empty. And it's like, it turns like, fades to black and white, and like red bars across the screen. Like he finds an empty jar of lard, and the end of it is just like, got lard? Just stuff
man.
like that.
Like all the stuff,
Oh,
like the
man.
most unhinged random bits in UHF, it's in the show as well.
It's an extension
Okay,
of UHF.
okay.
It has a lot of
So I
that
was gonna
same
say
stuff.
that feels very like familiar to like
Yeah.
shows that exist nowadays. Like
Yeah.
almost like this Weird Al show is like way ahead of its time of just completely
Yeah.
unhinged, unrelated comedy.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I was
It has its own lore and everything too. Like Harvey the Wonder Hamster, Fat Man, just a split level cave. that
Yeah,
lived in.
he lives in a cave like 100 miles under the earth or something, and he has random people come and visit him at his apartment. The Bare Naked Ladies showed up and played a show. Like it was just
like
you
they
know
would be
Hanson,
musical
yeah.
guests on like every.
And Hanson was
almost
not
every-
playing Bop.
No,
I
they
might
weren't.
mention.
I don't know what
you
the
had
song
to get.
was called.
You had to get the deep cuts there.
Yeah. 'Cause it's
Reminds me
Anyway,
a lot of
awesome show.
Yeah. What happened to lard jokes? I feel like that was a thing, right? Just the word lard was funny.
You tub of lard.
Yeah,
It's like an insult.
that no one says that anymore, right?
We're
Probably
bringing it
because
back.
it's very insensitive.
I think
Right.
we just stopped using lard, and it became out of the general public's eye.
Because lard's not
Yeah.
healthy.
We just switched to avocado oil.
Avocado oil.
Okay, that makes sense. well, I was gonna say, I don't know, just like lard jokes felt like a subgenre of humor at one point, like very, very specifics. Like, no, this is like lard humor, and for that to have like just the word lard
Yeah.
on the tub is
Yeah.
funny, but then to turn into a got lard commercial is like
Yeah.
extra lard humor. Sounds like a show I
It's the
would
same
have liked.
energy as like naming anything and everything Bob and it being funny.
Yeah,
It's a step above that.
But I feel like you grow out of that phase.
Yeah.
And you stick with the lard. Anyways,
So Weird Al show era, late 90s.
that's my favorite
His
era. But my favorite album is Straight Outta Linwood.
That's a good one.
So good. I had the privilege of him just coincidentally releasing all of his albums on June 21st, which is my birthday.
Mhm.
So I often would get his album for my birthday. That was only twice because I only was a fan of him until then, like when he actually released. So I was a fan for Straight Outta Linwood, and I think he was like my pretty much first album.
Mhm.
And then Mandatory Fun came out, and I got that for my birthday as well. But the others had already been out by the time I became a fan.
Mhm.
But
What you, Jonathan? What's your favorite Weird Al era?
Well, I've heard it described as everyone's favorite Weird Al album is typically the one that came out when they were 12. Like that's the one that they fused
what is his
with,
SNL
you know?
rule of thumb?
I was just thinking that. I was
So,
going to say it, but
It's the same thing. Like, there's a trilogy of albums that is my like era, which is Running with Scissors, Poodle Hat, and Straight Outta Linwood. That late '90s, early 2000s, and I feel like Poodle Hat is probably like right in the middle. That was like my favorite one.
I like Running with Scissors.
Running with Scissors, good. They're all good. But I remember for Christmas one year, I wanted a copy of Poodle Hat for Christmas on CD. And our older brother, Larry, already had it. But I was like, I want my own copy so I can listen to it whenever I want, you know? So that's what I asked for Christmas. And then instead, Mom got me the Dare to Be Stupid album instead.
Oh, big upset.
Well, I was let down
At
at first. You know, I was listening to this and I was like, this sounds old. What is this? Like a Surgeon. I don't know these songs. I don't.
That's like one of the best ones.
Well, but then I was like, the more I listened to it, I was like, this is actually a really good album.
Yeah.
This is awesome. And I like started telling my friends about it at school. It's like, hey, have you heard his old stuff? Like his old stuff? Did you hear Dare to Be Stupid? And they're like, oh, that's old. That's not good. And they like made fun of me. And I was like, you guys are missing out.
Yeah. Deep cuts. That opens up a new topic for me. There's a phenomenon that I realized upon myself that me growing up in the 2000s and being a Weird Al fan and learning about his stuff prior to my life, because he's been around for 50 years.
Yeah.
Listening to his songs that he wrote, and those being the first experience I've ever had with a song that sounded like that. So I have no knowledge of the original song he's parodying.
So you think
Yeah.
of the parody song first.
I don't know the words to Gangster's Paradise, but I know every single word to Amish Paradise.
Well, yeah.
So, and like a virgin. What?
Whoa, can I share something, a personal memory that you just unlocked for me?
Okay.
That's what
So-
we're here for.
okay,
Unlocking
good.
the memories.
This is the Unlocking the Memories podcast. Welcome back, quack quack.
Welcome back. Quack quack.
So me and my older brother, my brother's 3 years older than me, right? You know how every kid like wants to be like a filmmaker or make like a video, like especially at our age, you know, kind of growing up, we're like, oh, like when YouTube was just becoming a thing, and this was like crazy, and everyone wanted to slice.
We were all gonna get YouTube famous.
We're all
like
getting
we
YouTube
were like
famous.
trying to make like a home version of Survivor at their house.
Something exactly like that.
Okay.
So, so me and my brother, when we were little, decided to make like a shot-for-shot recreation of Amish Paradise.
Oh no!
The music video.
Is this still up?
Are we allowed to see this?
We never finished it.
Oh.
I wish we had it, but like I have completely forgotten about this moment until just now, because there's one clip where it's Key and Peele who roll up in the car, right, in the music video, when he says, "I want to roll with the gangsters," but they all think I'm white and nerdy. Oh, I'm thinking of white and nerdy.
White and nerdy, yeah, white and nerdy.
Sorry,
said
we
Amish
didn't do
Paradise.
Amish
You said-
Paradise.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I thought the wrong song. We were
Disclaimer:
recreating-
Jason is a real fan. He just had a Freudian slip.
Absolutely, white and nerdy, which was like my first Weird Al song. You know, like the song that introduces you. It was white and nerdy, and that music video
One of the
over
best.
and over again.
One of the best.
It's probably his
So-
most popular one.
I think so, right? So we were recreating white and nerdy shot for shot, and the scene where Key and Peele roll up in the car and like are frantically like locking the locks on the like convertible car.
Yeah,
We were filming that, and I walked up like way too fast before the moment in the song where they're supposed to drive away. So I just like was standing there while my brother was pretending to be in a car wearing sunglasses and a fake wheel, right? So he didn't like, we ran out of time. He didn't know what to do. We just turned and like fake punched me in the face, and I fell down to the ground. There's just a really funny clip of me pretending to be dead, and it's taking too long to start the song, so I like do a goofy smile at the camera. made my brother, my mom laugh, and you know that's a very
I love
special
that your
memory to
mom
me.
was the camera.
Yo, well, who else is gonna do it?
I don't know. I love how you not only you did not have a convertible, but you also didn't have a car.
Dude, this was inside our house that we were filming. It was not even outside. This is inside the front room to our house.
I'm loving this.
Me and Tim made a video in high school, and it was supposed to be a scene of us like jumping out of an airplane. And you remember this part? Jeremy was the
yes.
pilot, and it was literally our mom's minivan, like parked out in a field.
And I had a motocross helmet.
And he just had a helmet on. We were filming from like the third row of the van, like in the back seat. And
So it
he's
looks
just
like a helicopter,
And he's just
yeah.
like steering the wheel, but he's supposed to be flying a plane. And obviously, there's no graphics outside. Like he's not going anywhere.
Like cornfield.
And then like the guy that's supposed to jump out, he like slides the sliding door out, and you just see him like jump out of the car. But like that was it. That's what that reminded me of.
We'll like jump out very gingerly and like
Yeah.
land on the ground and like
And you
duck
hear
down real fast.
He throws his pack out, and you just hear it like thud on the ground. And I didn't think to edit that out.
Edit that sound out.
Do you have that?
Yeah, I've got it.
Oh, man.
I want to watch that.
So if you support us on Patreon, you can get access to that
Ah, yes.
that original clip.
So before we go any further, Jason, this is your first time on the show, and I think we should have you take the world famous IQ test. What do you think?
The icky test, as we call it back home.
In Chicago.
Yeah. We say icky test. We got popcorn chicken from McDonald's. Well, I thought this happens at the end. This is now. We're doing this now.
So
We like to
we've been
switch it up,
switching
don't
We've been switching up sometimes.
goodness.
I don't know.
Oh, keep me on my feet. I love it. I have a tray full of fruits and loose fruit snacks on my tray. Let's go. This is great. Let's do it. Let's do the test.
Okay. Question number 1, Jason. What was the first movie you remember seeing in theaters?
Oh, man. I'm sure it wasn't the actual first movie I remember seeing, but I have two that I remember at the same time. I don't remember which one I saw first. First, Disney Pixar's Up
Okay.
was first. My grandmother and my cousin went with me, and apparently they had already gone to see that, and they were seeing it again just with me.
Okay.
Which I don't know. I'm like, why was I here for the second time and not the first? But I remember my grandma getting upset about when Charles Muntz lights his house on fire. You know, when he's like, "Oh, I want the bird. I'm gonna burn your house down." That like made her like cry.
Not the beginning of the movie?
No, the end where his
The
house is
famous
on fire.
first introduction.
Yeah, that wasn't the part that made Grandma cry. And I also very vividly remember Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Great movie. Great film right there. Mm-hmm.
Went with some friends from grade school who had like he had like 4 siblings,
Mm-hmm.
and so the youngest kid, when like the aliens came out at like the very end, sorry, spoiler for
Oh.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but there's aliens at the end. I remember like the littlest brother get back, and I was like, did you see the aliens? Wasn't that crazy? And he was like so confident, like, I was in the bathroom at that time. And like he was so unfazed by it. And I remember as a kid thinking I would be heartbroken if I missed something that like amazing.
Yeah.
And he was just like so chill with it. And that was like the first moment in my life I'm like, maybe it's not a big deal.
I don't know how to read that. Like he's like, it's like a brag. Like, I was in the bathroom.
No, it wasn't.
Don't mind me. I was just joking.
No, he wasn't.
I mean, like,
he wasn't bragging about it.
he was bragging that he missed it.
He was just so like matter of fact, like I was in the bathroom. I didn't see it.
Oh, he just didn't care.
Yeah, he was like,
Okay.
I was peeing. And I was
Okay.
like, oh, like you're so chill about this. Maybe I should stop taking life so seriously.
He must think Raiders is superior.
Yes, this like,
I gave up
like
on it.
6-year-old kid. Yeah.
Interesting.
That seems
Those
a little late.
Those are a little late. Did
Yeah.
you not go to the movies when you were really little?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm sure I did, but like
Okay.
I literally can't.
That's just your first memory.
And those are
as
just
far
vivid
back
memories.
as I
Gotcha.
can
Yeah.
clearly remember being in the movie theater.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, I like those answers.
We haven't gotten those yet.
Question number 2. What is the craziest snack you've ever snuck into the theater?
Oh man, I'm not one to like stick it to the man.
Okay.
If they tell me not to bring stuff in, I'm not bringing
Nerd.
stuff in. Yeah, I know. Give it
Nerd.
to me now. Tell me I'm a nerd. I know. Well, the thing is, we would always stop at like the Dollar Tree or whatever, or like the CVS, and we pick up like the boxes of candy that they have literally at the movie theaters, but we'd pick them up for $1.
Yeah.
Sure.
So like those aren't exciting snacks. It's literally the same things they have there.
Yeah.
But there was one time I was so close. This was like 2 years ago. I was coming with you guys to go see a movie, and I was coming from like Brentwood, Tennessee or something, and I like was going all day all across like the Nashville area, and I stopped and got like a chicken Caesar salad. I was very excited about it. And I had to drive straight to the movie theater like an hour and a half away. I didn't have time to eat my salad. I was like, I should bring this, but decided not to.
So you scarf it down before?
No, I left it in my car. I said, it'll be good later. Like 3 hours
Big
later, I was like, I'm
mistake.
throwing this away. I wasted
Man,
that salad.
You
Yeah.
should have just called us. We would have snuck it in for you.
Nah, man, it's all good.
I've literally had a chicken Caesar salad in the theater before.
Have you really?
Yeah.
What movie?
An entire salad kit. It wasn't chicken, but it was a salad
Okay.
kit.
Do you remember what movie you snuck it into?
Don't remember.
I just had an idea.
Yeah.
We should probably offer some kind of like creator course on how to sneak food into the theaters.
We should. Venom.
Would it just
2018.
come to you?
Yeah.
Have
A master class.
Like a master
Yeah.
class, yeah.
Trench coat sneakery.
We charge like $200 for it.
Did you ever feel like getting on top of your shoulders and wearing a big trench coat, Little Rascal style?
Rascal style.
You know, that just reminded me. I did pull the bit one time at the movie theater concession stand, where I was like, you know, when you're like a middle schooler and you're like, this is gonna be the funniest thing ever. So I walked up to the guy at the like snack bar, and he was like, hey, what can I get for you? And I was like, I'll take an extra medium popcorn and a diet water. And he was like, I don't even know what words you're saying right now, man. And I was like, and I like ran away. I was like, it's the funniest thing I've ever said.
You showed him.
I know, no, I cringed to that like literally the next day, and then for the rest of my life, I'm so ashamed that I thought that was funny. Guy handled it really well. Like he was like, what? Anyway,
Question 3. If money is no object, what snack would you purchase from the concession stand?
okay. You know what? Hear me out on this. Like an icy, like a slushy.
Okay.
You know, I think that's a terrible snack, right? But my little like monkey baby brain is like, oh, I want those colors. I want it in my mouth right now, you know? And I it's such a bad snack. I don't justify spending any money on it. Cause I'm like,
Yeah.
this is not worth the money. It's just like ice and syrup.
Yeah.
But if ice isn't a problem, then I'm getting the waste of the snack. I'm getting the thing I know is a bad snack, but not feeling bad that I'm not spending my own money on it, you know? I would never buy it myself because I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. I can see that. All right, question number 4. Do you watch movies with the subtitles on or off?
Ooh. Oh, man. For my whole life, off.
Get out.
You know, I knew this was going to be a controversial answer. Because I know you're big subtitle boys on this podcast.
Yeah.
The idea of watching a movie with subtitles on was not even introduced to me until I started watching movie with like you guys.
What?
Yeah, like I would never have even considered that. I always thought it was like too distracting. I'm like, I'm here. Like, I love movies because of how much work the directors, the actors, like set to like. Everybody puts so much effort into an entire experience you're taking in with your eyes. And subtitles, I'm focused on the bottom third just reading the whole time, and I feel like I'm missing so much like really cool stuff.
I think the problem with the reason why we use subtitles is because some of these directors don't spend time on their sound design.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. I like to take the experience of like you should be able to understand what's going on just by watching it. If it's a good movie, you should have it on mute and know what's going on. I think someone said that about like old school like Disney animation or something. Like an old animator said that. But I will say, recently subtitles have been turned on in my house, and I have just chosen not to turn them off. So
Okay.
lately, yes, but for my whole life, no.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, it's
That's
not
what
like,
that question's there for. We just need you to come over to the dark side.
yeah.
No, I know, and currently it's dark sided.
Thanks.
So yeah.
All right. There's one question here that I've kind of taken off, but what was the movie rental store in your hometown? Because I've always paired it up Blockbuster versus Hollywood Video, and no one that's been on the podcast has ever been to a Hollywood Video.
Right.
So, did you go to Blockbuster growing up, or was it like a local thing? Or
Oh man. You know, we went to the library more than either of those.
Okay.
Great answer.
We
Valid answer.
rented
We did that too.
DVD, VHS tapes, everything from the library. And there's one very like fateful day of my life where we were going to the library, me, my dad, and my older brother when we were kids, to go rent movies from the library. And there's like one, man, I don't even know what movie this is, but it's so specific. It's like in the same Thomas the Tank Engine, JJ the Jet Plane realm, but like a steamboat that talked. I don't know if that's familiar, but
I'm picturing a show on PBS.
That sounds right. I
But I can't remember what it was called. Do you remember this?
Or Steamboat Sammy?
That doesn't sound familiar, but it was like tugboats.
Maybe so.
Anyway,
That might have been what I wanted. Anyway, we were going to the library to get this PBS show, and my brother says he slipped. But from what we're all holding hands walking across the parking lot, my brother says he slipped. What I feel is my brother yank his arm down, and my little 3-year-old arm in his, he throws me to the ground, and I fall face first on my sick Pokemon sunglasses that had flipped off of my eyes onto my forehead and made initial contact with like the concrete. And I had to get like a bunch of stitches, and don't remember anything else other than I woke up, there's a man in a suit, and every time he came in the room, I was in pain. And I still have scars. Never got that Theodore Tugboat tape or whatever it was, but
you never rented a movie again.
that's right. I just don't think we did. I'm too scared to go back to the library.
But I bet you were the coolest kid in your class.
Well, I always said it was
for
like
having stitches.
I said it was like a Harry Potter scar, right? 'Cause it's on my forehead.
Yeah.
But it's very visibly in the shape of like nubs on glasses, so I couldn't like hide that.
All right. Well, the final question here is: what movie, in your opinion, is totally overrated?
I've thought a lot about this one, and I've had an answer for so long until last week, where someone like made me rethink it. Right?
Oh man,
The movie I think
Of?
that is completely overrated is Arrival.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Jeremy Renner. Where it's like aliens come to Earth and we don't understand them, but they teach us a new way to communicate. And I told that to someone, and they're like, "No, you don't get it," which immediate red flag, right? but they're like the story's told out of order, right? Like you're seeing kind of flashbacks into when they get together and have a kid. Spoilers for the movie Arrival.
That's
but
never fun.
Exactly. Why should
do
you have to
it
watch a
once.
movie twice to fully understand it?
Yeah.
You know, I get it if you want a deeper understanding, but your initial understanding and enjoyment of a movie should not be based on multiple rewatches.
But that also
I can
shouldn't be the
appreciate that.
key factor, the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Is the way that it's told. There's a couple movies that can do that. And they have done that, and they're famous for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a one and done, one trick pony. That's like that. No.
I've just heard for so long, Arrival's a movie that like changed the way I think about life.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whoa, this must be an incredible movie. And I watched it and walked away. I was like, I don't get it. So maybe I'm just not smart enough. I don't know. But
Okay.
for me, it's overrated.
I watched that for the first time, I think last year, and I enjoyed it, but it was one of those things where I was like, okay, I didn't quite follow everything. And like the more I thought about it, I would like, it would be this circle of like, I'd get to a certain point where I was like, oh, I think I'm understanding all the different levels to it. And then I'd be like right back where I started and like, oh wait, I don't know. I don't really understand this. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Well, I was calculating your answers here on the IQ test, and you got a score of 42.
Yes.
Bet you're hoping for that because you're a fan of the show.
I am a fan. I know that's a perfect score.
Perfect
I know
score.
It's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Answer to the Universe. So. Yeah, thank you. Spoilers if you haven't. Never mind.
Well, that's all we've got for today, folks.
Oh wait, should we
Well,
talk about the movie?
The movie, okay.
Should we talk about the movie UHF?
It's actually pronounced UHF.
You're trying to get more
So, it's just,
engagement.
so we
via,
just say stuff that's wrong on purpose to get people to comment on it.
actually comments.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Jeremy, you did state that this movie came out in 1985 earlier at the beginning.
not?
It came out in 1989. The
me
same
tell you
summer
something.
as the Michael Keaton Batman,
Okay.
The Last Crusade, and Ghostbusters 2. So it had a lot of competition, and this movie made no money at the box office.
Did you really?
I mean, it made back its budget, and that's it. It was made for like $5 million, and it made like $6 million. So I mean,
would
it
this be
was, like,
considered
okay.
a flop?
This was a flop.
Whoa.
I've heard Weird Al talk about how like this movie, the test screenings for this movie, like scored for their studio like way higher than anything else they'd ever produced, higher than like RoboCop or whatever. And so everyone was like really excited about it. And he was like, people were like delivering like fruit baskets to my room every day, like fresh fruit or whatever every day to my room. And then like after the movie, after opening weekend, and like nobody went and saw it, he's like, the fruit basket stopped. So that's my definition of a flop. Yeah, I think this movie was actually like contributed to a little bit of like a lull in Weird Al's career, because he had the album before this. It was the Polka Party, like the one with like living with a hernia, classic song. But that album didn't do that well, and then this movie came out and it was like a flop. And there was like a few years where like it wasn't until he did the parody of "Smells Like Teen Spirit," the Nirvana song, that revitalized his career. But I think with this movie is like the definition of like a cult classic for me.
Yes.
I agree.
Almost no one has ever seen it, but if you meet someone who has seen it, they're like, "Oh yeah, I love Oof."
It's true. I do love Oof.
This movie was like, I heard about it through word of mouth, through like our older brothers.
Yeah.
And it was like legendary. Like it was a movie I wanted to see for a long time, but we didn't own it. And like they went to their friend's house and would watch it. But yeah, this one, I don't know. What did your family, Jason, own this?
Yeah, so my grandparents have like a really, really tiny like a cottage in central Illinois. I wouldn't even consider it like a lake house, because that conjures images of like luxury, and it wasn't. It was a very, very small house on a very small lake in the middle of nowhere. So there's no cable, no satellite, no nothing, and like later years like no Wi-Fi and stuff. So we just had a VHS player and very, very few VHS tapes, right? Yeah. The three big ones were UHF, Midnight Madness,
Yes.
and Sesame Street Silly Song Sing Along.
Okay.
Were like the three big tapes at the cottage. So
weird.
yeah, so like I really associate this movie and all the jokes and everything like with all of the feelings that come with like being at that house, and you know, the smells, the sights, the family, the jokes, the everything all kind of like fits in a certain little comfy spot in my brain, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of more why I like this movie, more so than any of the jokes or the pacing or anything else weird. It's like it's a very nostalgic movie for me, I guess.
Yeah. So we had the pleasure of watching Midnight Madness for the first time this past year. You showed us that one. That was good. I definitely could see that being like, we would have loved that growing up.
Can that be? Can I make a former pitch right now that Midnight Madness is an honorary staple?
Honorary staple?
Honorary staple, Jeremy.
I could say that.
Yes.
We'll allow it.
Yes.
Only because of the Polar Express connection.
This is like a sidetrack, but like, did your grandparents buy UHF and put it in this cabin, or did that come with the cabin?
Whoa. I mean, definitely the former, but I've never actually thought about the answer to this question.
I'm just fascinated.
I mean, when you're a kid, you don't question where the movies come from.
Right.
Especially if you're in the middle of nowhere and you got one VHS tape.
I mean,
And you're
yeah.
like, time to watch. It's late at night. Time to watch a movie.
I mean,
pop one of the 3 in that we had.
I'm just thinking about like staying at cabins and like watching whatever random movies are there that just are just part of the cabin that you just watch. Like, I remember I have a vivid memory of Jeremy watching Rocky and Bullwinkle in like a cabin in North Carolina one time, just because that was like one of 3 tapes that they had there that they left.
Cabin movies.
I went camping with my my friend from Boy Scouts on his like grandparents' property, and his grandpa just kept like recorded tapes of Sanford and Son on tape, specifically on his property on that trailer, and that's the only time they ever watched it. They would go camping and watch Sanford and Son.
They didn't
trailer.
watch Sanford and Son when they went home.
No.
That's great.
I love that UHF was a cabin movie. I don't know. And just the fact that this had Weird Al, like obviously we've all talked about our Weird Al memories. We grew up listening to the songs. We all loved it. And just so to find out like Weird Al was in a movie, like I had to see this. Actually going back to the Weird Al show thing, like when I got my first debit card, like that was the first thing I bought online.
No way.
Was the Weird Al show on DVD. And shortly after UHF. Like, because I wanted to see these things.
You are a truer fan than I'll ever wish to be. Like, that's incredible.
The first time I ever logged into Amazon.com was to buy Weird Al.
That's
like on
crazy.
VHS, like to buy the
DVD like TV season. Yeah, man,
That's incredible.
yeah.
Here I am thinking I'm like the only person who's ever seen the movie UHF, and you're like miles ahead of where I'll ever be.
But that's the thing. Like, if you know someone that's seen this movie and likes it, like you've got a friend for life. I feel like that's part of like the cult classic nature of it. But like, if you can appreciate that, probably you have a similar sense of humor, I guess,
Yeah.
is part of it. But if you can watch this movie with all of its pacing issues and random music video in the middle of the movie, and you still love it and have a soft spot in your heart for it, like, I don't know.
Man, I know
You're a true fan.
I know you're not bad mouthing the Ballad of Jed Blanchett or
Jed
what is it?
Jed Clampett.
Jed Clampett.
What'd
I say?
Jed Blanchett.
Our family was
Kate's
big
dad.
Beverly Hillbillies fans,
I was
so we
not,
knew all
so-
about it. We knew all about that.
Maybe that's why I can't stand that part of the movie.
Yeah.
Is because I like did not grow up watching Beverly Hillbillies. So I'm like, what is this? This is like such a total halt in the middle of the movie. I get it because it's like he's a musician,
Yeah.
music video. It's like a plug for your career, right? But oh man,
I mean, even then, I still didn't like the song that much, though, because I didn't think it was that funny. Like, it's kind of just a retelling of like the theme song
Yeah.
set to the what's the band name? I can't remember. Dire Straits song.
I will say one of my favorite bits in the whole movie is in the middle of that music video because I love like small overlooked bits, right? So there's a part where like the camera keeps changing on Weird Al as he's singing, and he's like frantically turning around trying to find the camera to sing into it, and it's like to the left, to the right, now it's like below him or above him. And at one point he like drops his guitar and just grabs the camera and like screams into it like the words of the song, and like that's like a you blink and you miss it, especially because there's so many colors and weird like changes in animation going on. So
Yeah.
I love stuff like that.
I feel like the music video part was, a storytelling device that they were trying to get across in the movie of like his character was like always daydreaming and stuff, but I don't think it was like executed very well. I feel like it like they kind of mentioned it at the beginning. It's kind of like there's like lines here that like, oh, if
That's why I've been fired 6 times, because I daydream.
I honestly forget that's like a subplot every time.
Right,
Or that's
yeah.
like his main motivation.
and that's supposed to be like where he gets his ideas for like the TV shows that he comes up with, the ideas and but yeah, I feel like that wasn't executed fully.
I just took this as like, I don't care what the plot is. I'm here to watch Weird Al parody movies instead of just music.
And that's enough, really.
Yeah, I'm here for...
I was sold before I saw the movie.
I always forget that it's him daydreaming. I think it's Stanley Spadowski. Like, I always think it's like him. Like, he's the star. It's all his ideas, you know? And especially because the way the story's told, it feels like some of those shows already existed. You know, it's like, wait, was this a pre-George Newman owns the network show? I don't know. It's just weird, not out of order. I love how, like, hectic it is, and, like, it's almost like an anthology of silly shows and spoofs.
Yeah.
But when you try to shoehorn in like the story, it just gets lost in the mix sometimes. It's a good story. I like that they raise all the money to
It's
save
fine.
the channel.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's pacing is definitely an issue, like you said.
The story is definitely just a service to, like, how do we get the parodies in here?
Yes.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah, the sketches, basically. I feel like the movie itself, the title is confusing. The movie itself is probably outdated. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Like, just the concept for the movie. I feel like kids today probably wouldn't even understand
What is a telethon?
what a telephone
I've never
is.
seen one.
They're
What
like
do you mean
they're
he owns a
they
channel?
were
Is
like
that like he owns a Netflix?
well, they were like streaming on Twitch and people were like donating to them.
Oh, yeah, that's a good way.
Yeah, because
For
like
the
because their
modern
situation
era.
was mad unfortunate, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, boomer.
Hey. Oh, thank you for the mop. Thank you.
Even like, do you even know what UHF means? I'd be curious. Do you know what this means? You know what it means?
Ultra
Okay.
high frequency.
Yeah.
Like there's different like wavelengths of broadcasting, and I want to say ultra high frequency is the only one that like television shows can be on.
So,
I don't fully
yeah.
understand this, but I know there's like high frequency, low frequency, ultra high, like ultra low,
So-
ultraviolets at the bottom.
Yeah, I don't fully understand it either, but I know that there's VHF and there's UHF when it comes to like TV stations.
Okay.
And a lot of like the broadcast networks, we're talking like NBC, CBS,
Channel
stuff like
8.
that. Channel 8 News, yeah. Like those were like the networks. Those were on like the lower the VHF stations. And like UHF was like the more local
Accessible.
stuff.
Okay,
More off
okay.
the wall stuff. Like you didn't know what you were going to get. And the only reason I know about this was we had this like Storm like battery powered TV. Do you remember this, Jeremy?
Yes, I do.
It was like battery powered. It took like 8D batteries or something like that.
What a
and it was
waste
like
of
a little.
energy.
It was like a radio / like black and white like 3-inch television.
Like an
thing.
emergency type
Yeah.
of-
Straight
Okay.
from the 80s.
So you could like see what was going on in the event of a hurricane that we faced every other day in Florida.
Yeah.
And I remember on that because it had like an antenna, and like on the dial to like go to the stations, it had a differentiation between like VHF and UHF, and I was like, oh, that's how like I put stuff together. I don't know for that, but like Weird Al's talked about this, like the title of this movie would make no sense to anyone today because they don't even really. It's actually digital now. Digital people don't really use those antennas much anymore. So,
But for me, that's a lot of the charm of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is how it exists in this era, and it really like plays up every part of it with the secrets of the universe,
Mm-hmm.
where he's in like the crazy like wires, and
yeah.
you know they intercept his broadcast live and make him say, "This community means as much to me as a festering bowl of dog snot." Which is the first quote from this movie that I think we've said on the podcast. Why is that the one? That's
I
not
don't
even.
know.
That's not even like one of the big quotes.
What is y'all's favorite parts of this movie?
Anything that Michael Richards says. I'm thinking of something
Okay,
orange.
that's his name. I didn't know his name.
Stanley Spadowski.
Sorry,
Kramer.
yeah.
Kramer.
Yes.
Kramer's in this movie, everybody.
Kramer. Kramer's the janitor / TV star. He any scene that he was in became the things that were our quotes.
Yeah.
You know?
Something blue.
Or he says, I'm thinking of something orange because this blindfold is orange.
Yeah.
Something orange. You give up? It's an orange.
My favorite Stanley Spadowski quote is when
Bonanza theme song.
and we appreciated that because we liked Beverly Hillbillies and Bonanza.
Yeah.
So we're 2 for 2 already. References. My favorite quote of Stanley's was when Weird Al's like sitting outside the TV station all like bummed out. He walks up to him and is like, ask him, oh, George, is everything okay? How are you doing? And he's like, Stanley, you don't want to know. And Stanley just says, oh, why'd I ask? Like just scratching his head. I don't know. That one's always got me.
Stellar performance from him, always.
And then when he's doing the little promo, like U62, be there. And it just the camera sits on him for too long.
I think another one of my absolute favorite parts of this whole movie, just A+ scene, it's got to be Raoul's Wild Kingdom.
That's my favorite favorite show.
That's in my top 5 moments of the movie. Maybe number 1. Yeah.
I had, when you had little kid brain watching this, I genuinely thought turtles would stick if you licked them on the bottom and shoved them at the ceiling. Like, that sound effect, so convincing. Just look. I was like, oh, that works. That has to work in real life.
The nature suction cup.
He was so funny. He was so good.
I just saw a GIF when I look up UHF and the GIFs tab on iMessage. There's a lot of Stanley Spadowski. There's a lot of George Newman reaction shots.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Cooney. But there's one of Raoul shaking the ant farm.
Yes.
Which
they hate it when you do this.
If you send that to someone, you'll have no idea what you're looking at. But if you know, you know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
So the quote that always got me was whenever the supply man comes to Raoul's apartment, is delivering all the animals to him for the next show, and he's like 6 badgers, and Raoul just goes, badgers? We don't need no stinking badgers.
Because it just pauses the whole movie and takes you away from it all.
It's a quote to.
I later found out it's a reference to something, but I didn't know that, and I just died every time. No, even that is referencing an old Western.
Oh.
Which is funny because if you don't know that that's a reference,
it's
just
like
totally you're right. It halts the whole movie.
You're just what is this guy's deal with badgers? I need to know.
Yeah, because they don't explain it. That's the last time you see Raoul.
Yeah. And on a sad note, he did pass away. The actor passed away in production of the movie. He was killed by a drunk driver, and so the movie was dedicated to him. Oh. It's in the credits.
Was it really? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
I think Weird Al's talked about how he was supposed to come back at the telethon or something like that, be later on in the movie.
Oh.
But he
mid filming.
Yeah, mid filming.
Wow.
So they didn't. There was some more stuff planned for him, but unfortunately, we got what we got.
Oh, wow.
That's so sad.
Yeah,
that is really sad.
His name was Trinidad Silva. So. And he was, like I said, he's one of those small characters, but he left an impact on us.
I mean, I love
that's
that he's
gonna make me
immortalized.
sad the next time I watch this.
Oh, man.
Well, just like that Badgers joke, Jonathan brought the podcast to just
okay.
screeching halt.
Moving on. My other almost favorite scene in the movie is when he's like, "Today we're teaching poodles how to fly."
There's they cut to a pile of poodles on the ground.
It's just a barely half second.
He just throws a poodle out the window of his 3-story apartment.
He's like, yep. Oh man.
Oh man. Sometimes it takes him a little bit to get off the ground,
I don't know how any one scene could be better than all of Raoul's Wild Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, scenes with Cooney.
Strong
runner-up.
He adds.
That is the number one inside quote from this movie.
Yeah.
At least for me and my family.
Stupid.
Was, I'll take what's in the box.
I'll take what's in the box.
You get nothing.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
Cooney's so funny, though, because I just love the scene at the beginning when they go back to the apartment and he lives next to a karate school. And we were talking about this. This was
Great
like one of the
bit.
best bits of the movie. It was like, it's like, Bob, what time is it? And a karate, like one of the guys, the students just like punches through the wall, and there's a
Drywall, and he grabs the watch off the guy's
a
hands.
watch,
Oh,
yeah.
7:30.
I gotta go, Bob.
It's like it's never even brought up that it's like the inconvenience that they live next to karate studio,
Yeah.
but like their whole conversation, like the stuff's falling off the
You
walls.
can hear-
and-
The bodies are slamming against the wall.
guys are flying out the windows next to them. Great, a perfect bit.
Yeah. And, you know, it's also the introduction of what I might call the perfect snack, the Twinkie Weiner sandwich.
You might call it that.
It's been known to be a perfect snack.
Let's say some people in this room, not all people, some people would consider it a perfect snack.
Jeremy, do you want to explain to the audience what a Twinkie Weiner sandwich is?
So you start off with a little lemon juice and some ketchup, and you. Oh, wrong movie. My bad. A Twinkie Wiener sandwich is pretty much 2/3 explanatory. There's a hot dog, a Twinkie, and easy cheese, and it looks just like a regular hot dog with mustard on it.
So you flip the
It looks like a
Twinkie-
Play-Doh version of a regular hot dog. If that's ever enticing to you. So yeah, Jason, you'd never had a Twinkie Wiener sandwich before.
No, never even crossed my mind to eat something like this.
You weren't even a little curious from seeing this movie that this might be something you'd like to try someday? I was.
No, the bit is that it's so gross no one would ever eat this. Like I thought I understood that joke.
Nah, we didn't. We were just wanted to be like immersed.
I
understand.
I would say in our family, Jeremy has always been the more adventurous eater.
Sure.
He's wanted to try things. I'm not like that usually.
Let's just say Ratatouille is one of my favorite movies.
But for me, I was such a Weird Al fan. I was like, if he likes it, I gotta like it too. And I'm gonna wear a Hawaiian shirt while I eat it as well.
That was
So-
actually your justification?
I mean,
Yes.
I had to try it. I love Weird Al. Why wouldn't I like his food?
Jonathan loves
miles
Weird Al
ahead.
more than anybody that I know.
You don't have to understand. Like a
First
lot of
debit
people
card
grew out of their Weird Al fandom. You know, once they became a teenager.
Oh, yeah, I remember
didn't.
Weird Al.
I didn't. Okay, it stuck with me, and he is still one of the greatest comedians of all time. I said it. So. Yeah, I remember it wasn't until like college that I remember like trying it. I feel like I was like, maybe it was high school. I don't know. I'm trying to think.
It was high school for you, I think.
It was probably like later high
It
school.
was right before you. It was senior year of high school for you.
I feel like I was in my Tropical Tuesday phase. Like I was wearing a Hawaiian shirt every Tuesday.
Oh, this is a holiday Jonathan
Yeah.
made up.
In high school, I decided like to be like. Well, it was a Weird Al reference, but it was also like my ska fandom. Aaron Barrett
Yeah.
of Real Big Fish always wore a Hawaiian shirt, so I was like, yeah, I'm
So
going to
every
be a Hawaiian
Tuesday?
shirt. Every Tuesday, I'd wear a Hawaiian shirt to school, and I like convinced a lot of my friends to wear one too. So I think during that phase, I was like, I'm like a tropical
also
guy.
carried that tradition on at FC. A couple
Wow.
of us in our Tuesday lab would wear our Hawaiian shirts and make for Tropical Tuesday.
You guys had a lot of power back then.
We did.
Sure did.
And by I mean our friends, I meant like 2 or 3 people. Like also, I mean, maybe
That's
4 or 5.
Triple the amount of
Maybe 4 or
influence you
5.
have as one person.
But I just remember like, you know what? I'm going to try this. And I went down to the store. We used to live by this like that Hostess store. Do you
Some,
remember
like,
that?
Wonder
was-
Bread outlet.
Mom called it like the day old bread store because it was like all the bread that was like kind of getting to the end of its shelf life that needed to sell, and it would be like
Okay.
super cheap.
No, okay,
Close to
you
the
know what?
bread factory, and like people that had low income families
Oh, I see.
would
Okay.
go shop there for their bread.
But they also had like all like the snacks, like all
Makes
that kind of
sense.
stuff, like the
No,
Hostess cakes
I grew
and
up by
things
like
that.
an Entenmann's outlet.
Okay.
Which I
Yeah.
didn't think was weird until I've never ever seen another one in my
Yeah.
life before.
Yeah.
So I get it.
So like I drove down the road, picked up a box of Twinkies. I think we may have had some hot dogs at home. I must have got some spray cheese there too. Cheese whiz. There's a lot of words for that.
I wonder
Easy
if you got
cheese,
it
cheese
there.
whiz. I don't know where I got it.
Cheese whiz is what I
Cheese whiz.
go to.
Anyway, I got all the ingredients and I made it. And I ate it and I didn't hate it. I also thought it was like a nice after-school snack to like tide me over between school and
This
dinner.
coming from the guy that convinced me to eat a peanut butter and ham sandwich.
Oh man.
Look, I didn't eat them every day, but I did eat it multiple days in my life, I have to say.
How do you eat this and go back and be like, I could do that again? You ate the whole thing
Yeah.
and said, I'm going to do this another
Well, Jason,
day.
what was your reaction to eating it? Oh, wait.
Let's find out, shall
Let's do
we?
So,
Instant replay.
you brought a clip with you, right? Can you just
Yeah,
set
yeah.
up the
Let me-
clip
let
we're
me
about to
set up
hear?
this clip. Let me set up this clip that you're about to listen to. So I came into the studio to watch UHF with the lovely podcast hosts, quack quack, and pretty early into the movie when the Twinkie Weiner sandwich shows up, Jeremy pauses the movie and says, "All right, remember when I texted you and said don't bring ice cream? I've got dessert."
I didn't say don't bring ice cream.
That was the message
said,
I
"Oh,
got
well, we
out
got
of it.
dessert."
No, I was going to Culver's and I said, "Hey,
I
I'm going to
wasn't
Culver's.
gonna-
Do you guys want ice cream?" And you said, "No, we got dessert." And I said, "Oh, okay. I won't spend the money on this ice cream that I love.
I
this
wasn't
frozen
trying to convince you not to
custard
get ice
that I
cream.
love so much." And instead, I skip custard and show up. I said, "What's the dessert?" And Jeremy pulls out a Twinkie Wiener sandwich.
Roll the tape. Oh, hey, Jason, do you want a Twinkie Wiener sandwich?
No way. You actually have all the stuff?
It's only 3 ingredients.
Who? But I don't like
Twinkies,
wieners, sandwiches.
and easy cheese.
Goodness.
Have you ever had it?
Wait, he dips it in a glass of milk in a coffee cup.
I'll be right back. It shall be done.
Do you microwave these doggies?
I have air fried them.
They're in the air fryer. Oh, Marcus. Have you had one of these? I have. Really? Yeah. What? You had one of these?
Oh, yeah.
Should we tell them what we think of them?
No. All right, there's your glass of milk in a coffee mug.
I just got a whiff of hot dog.
Which one would you like?
I hate hot dogs by themselves.
Let's just go for it. All right, ready?
About it.
Cheers. What are your thoughts, Jason?
Did you guys? Are you serious? Did you eat that whole thing?
Absolutely, we did.
Oh my goodness.
We commit to the bit.
Dude, I had to focus on the easy cheese just to get me through it. Just a familiar taste.
So that's your favorite part of the...
Actually,
trifecta?
yes. So
A lot of people are grossed out by that the most.
That's the part that I don't know. It's like a straitjacket, you know. It makes you feel crazy, but you're not gonna go anywhere. I can't finish that.
Okay. You don't have to. But now you can say you tried a Twinkie Wiener sandwich.
I don't want to look at it anymore.
So our show art was done by Bryce Bridgman.
Actually, so mad I didn't get ice cream that night.
I could tell you were a little. You were looking like Bob looked after he ate that box of Yappy's dog treats.
Okay, that's probably one of my number one quotes from this movie.
Oh my goodness. That's his friend. That's his roommate.
Yeah.
Is the
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah.
I thought it was just some random clown they hired.
Oh. Yeah, they
No,
made
that's Bob.
Yeah. Bobo falls down, goes boom boom.
A big
Oh, fall
quote.
down, go boom.
A big quote. That meter. That
Yeah.
something fall down, go boom. I
Yes.
said over and over. No clue what it was from until this rewatch.
I love it when
And
that
I
happens.
caught that.
I constantly say when describing food or preparing to cook food, I usually add in it tastes like whatever blah 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 with just a hint of cheese.
I wrote that one down.
That's a classic one for me. I feel like
Your
I said
dog
it.
will love that liver and tuna taste. Ugh.
Yeah.
And hey, Mom, it's nutritious too.
Mrs. Hockenberger's butter cookie.
Oh man, okay, actually another one of my going way back, another one of my favorite moments from this whole movie. It's got to be the Spatula City commercial.
Yes.
Yep.
Very
That's
classy, very
huge.
classy.
That's probably number 2 quote other than Wheel of Fish is Spatula City, Spatula City. Yes. Remember, they make great gifts.
What better way to say "I love you" than with a spatula?
And it cuts to the guy in like the desk. It's like, I love spatula so much, I bought it.
I bought the company.
I bought the company. Yeah.
I never noticed until this rewatch that you see his eyes going back and
Yeah.
forth.
Like
Like
he's reading
he's
a
reading
post.
what to say. I've never noticed that. I just thought it was like a deadpan. Like, I like their spatulas so much, I bought the company. But it was like he's reading what to say. Okay, I wrote down best segments of the movie.
Okay.
We've already talked about Raoul's Wild Kingdom.
Yeah.
Next, I had Spatula City.
Spatula City.
Gandhi 2.
Oh, God, too.
Punching through the stomach. This movie has a level of gore for me that I could not handle when I first watched it. Like I genuinely was sick to my stomach from seeing the Conan the Librarian scene where he
Really?
split the
Chops
guy
the
in
kid in
chat,
half.
hot dog style.
If you go back and watch that in slow motion, like you see like the obviously fake guy.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even look like a real guy. It's so funny how fake it is.
I can appreciate that.
But what about Gandhi 2?
Oh, just the whole commercial. He's like an 80s action star.
Yeah.
He's like,
Also knows
I
how
always
to party.
is that not weird? That's not Weird Al in a suit, right? Is that him? I always
So-
thought it was him.
actually, it's his manager,
Okay.
Jay Levy, who directed the movie and co-wrote it with him. That's his like cameo, the director's cameo.
Is that he's Gandhi too?
It's
What a
Gandhi
cameo.
too.
I
What
just
an
thought
awesome
they
cameo.
put a bald cap on the mustached Weird Al.
And for whatever reason, the quote that stands out to me of that whole sequence is,
Give me a steak.
"Give me
medium
a
rare."
steak, medium rare."
I really want salmon right now for dinner. I don't know why.
Well,
Red
that leads to the
snapper.
next segment, Wheel of Fish.
Oh man, I never caught that. You know, this is like the whole plot of the movie is that they're finding people from their community to have shows. So it's like their neighbor Cooney, who calls everybody stupid all the time. Then this is his bit. It's like, hey, just come on the show and call everyone stupid, right?
Yeah.
Like I actually never made the connection. You know, I got big like Wizard of Oz vibes where it's like you see this guy in real life, but also here he is as the Scarecrow. Like here's his neighbor, but also he looks a lot like the host of this show. Is
Yeah.
it the same person?
Huh? Yeah.
I didn't get it. It's like, oh no, this is just their neighbor who they're giving a show to.
Yeah. It's just like, yeah, exactly that. You just get all your friends and just like, hey, do you want a show? You get a show. Stanley.
We're trying to fill up some time.
I like the bit
Can I
whenever.
still be the janitor?
Yeah, exactly. After Stanley fills in and like knocks it out of the park, he's like, "Did you have a good time, Stanley?
Oh yeah, I had the best time, George.
How would you like to do that every day?"
Oh, that'll be. Wait. Oh, could I still be the janitor?
Sure.
Oh, all right. Yeah. What a wholesome guy. He
No,
just,
it's
like,
my mop. That's my mop.
That is since I was 8 years old, George.
It clearly looks like a company mop because it's like has color on it. I don't know.
I thought it looked like a croquet, like a hammer. I don't know. Look classy.
It's his mop.
Classy mop. Who would give an 8-year-old a massive mop?
Someone who knew what he wanted to do with his life.
What are the big
Fair
moments from this movie, Jonathan?
I love the car commercial with Crazy Ernie.
Oh, dude.
All right. There might be some animal lovers out there, but there's nothing funnier than a car salesman saying he's going to club a baby seal if you don't come down there and buy a car right now.
Yeah.
That has always cracked me up.
Oh man, why is clubbing baby seals like always a funny joke? It's like a legitimately like bad problem. I think in like the UK, like there's
Clubbing baby seals?
Yeah, that's why it's a joke. Is because it's an
And you know
actual,
I'll do
like-
it too, because I'm Crazy Ernie.
Well, hold up, back up. What are you talking about? It's a real thing.
Yes, this is real. That's why That's why it's funny to reference it, is because people actually go out and like commit this like act of violence against animals.
Yeah, they want like the fur or something like that.
Yeah, something
Seal
like
fur.
that.
Okay.
You didn't know people actually did that?
I mean, I knew people like killed him for the fur, but not like clubbing.
I think it was
them.
a big thing back then. Yeah.
All I know is that when Jonathan used to go hang out with his friends, he'd be like, "See you, Mom. I'm gonna go seal clubbing."
Oh yeah, that was the joke. Like, oh, we're going clubbing, seal clubbing. Seal clubbing. That is.
So,
yeah, it's a good one.
also part of his
I
humor
do have
was
some-
Weasel Stomping Day.
Yeah,
Weasels.
I do have some trivia about that crazy Ernie character.
Ooh.
They had wanted.
He
Do you know who
actually
Crispin
clubbed
Glover?
that baby
Yes, yes.
seal.
Crispin Glover. Do you know who that is? He's
Yes.
the dad in Back to the Future, like the nerdy guy.
Biddleman from like
Biddleman from Like Mike. If you're a fan of this podcast, that might be more up your alley. I remember they offered him some role. It may have been Stanley Spadowski. Like they sent him the script, and he turned it down, and he said that the only role he was interested in was that character.
the car
the
salesman.
crazy Ernie character.
Weird.
And they just thought that was like really bizarre.
Ew,
That's who he wanted to play.
He would have been a weird Stanley Spadowski.
It would just
He
would have been like
a weird
a
car
cameo.
salesman. Come on down and buy a car, or I'll club in this baby seal.
I don't remember why it didn't work out. I just thought that was the most insane bit of trivia
Why
from
would
this
they
movie.
offer that to him and then he turned it down, and they're like, "Well, then we're not giving you any role."
Yeah.
That would have been just creepy.
It
The
would've been
whole
weird.
movie
It
would have
would've
been
weird.
creepy.
As creepy as the Emo Phillips
Yep.
carpentry teacher
Yeah,
scene.
another gory scene
Gory
for
scene
me.
for sure.
God, but
Just call me Mr. Butterfingers.
dude, the way where he's like, he can't remember the name for the tool. It's like, here's a
Table
it's like,
saw.
table saw. And he's like,
Table saw.
and he like makes that face at him like he's mocking him. Come on.
One of the best reactions of the movie.
Is my face red?
Oh, would you look at this?
There's blood
Like
spurting.
pointing it right at him.
Would you look at that?
Oh,
Emo Phillips.
Oh, incredible to watch the deleted scenes like we did before this movie and see that was supposed to go on way longer.
Oh, there's so
He's
much
like,
more
I tell my
too.
students to put the thumb in their mouth until they can get to the hospital. And he like sticks it in his mouth and walks off.
Emo Phillips is in the TV show.
Oh,
Actually,
Yeah.
he's a recurring character.
So is he's not a recurring.
He's
Is
in
he?
it at
He's in an
least
episode?
twice,
There's
and that's recurring for a show that went 13 episodes.
the bad guy, the evil news anchor, was in an episode of the Weird Al Show. I remember in like one of the skits they got him back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember
R.J.
him.
Fletcher.
R.J. Fletcher.
But he wasn't like a news. He was a different character.
No, he was. Yeah, it was just a character.
I really appreciate in also one of my favorite sequences where Weird Al becomes Rambo.
Yes.
And rescues Stanley from like a really tiny prison cell that's like just sticks. But he gets in that like helicopter and is like just like firing at all the national monuments and exploding them up. But that's also the only scene where RJ Fletcher is not himself, where he appears as like the enemy helicopter driver.
Yeah.
And like I
What?
I don't remember the actor's name.
Oh yeah.
Who plays RJ Fletcher, but like he's great. Like he's such an incredible like
Kevin
cartoonish
McCarthy.
villain. Kevin
Yeah.
McCarthy, great cartoon villain. Like he really plays it up. And in my head, he's like so in that headspace of this like news anchor CEO guy, right? But then there's that quick like in Rambo where he's like in this helicopter, and that like takes me out of it for a minute. I'm like, oh yeah, he's an actor, like having fun, like doing this incredibly goofy movie and playing into the goofy like helicopter Rambo scenes. Like just a little thing I don't think about till I see it. I'm like, oh wow, everyone here is having fun.
Yeah.
And makes me love the movie even more.
Yeah. I was reading a little bit about him specifically, and like Weird Al had talked about how I think they were going with casting him. They were kind of going with like a Leslie Nielsen type vibe. They were trying to get with like he's like more of like a classical actor or like serious actor, but had like been transitioned, like had a great sense of humor, loved doing comedy, just hadn't really done much of that before. So that's what they were kind of going with for that. And and just like thinking about him, like he talked about him like having a great time, like having a great sense of humor and like loving being on the movie and all that. And I was just thinking about like his character is so convincing as like this mean old man. Like I feel like he's like the definition of a boomer, like that people would make fun of and like laugh at.
He's so convincing that I don't like seeing him in the movie.
Right. I think he's a great villain.
He's a great villain.
He's great.
Can we real quick talk about all the scenes with the homeless man?
Yes.
Where he first, which is also a big quote, change. You got any change?
You got change.
99 $1. Thanks, mister. And like gives him a whole dollar bill for change. And then the real quick bit where he's on the bench with the blind man trying to solve the Rubik's Cube. Is this it?
Nope.
Nope.
Is this
like,
it?
He changes it once and hands it back.
Is this it?
He's just helping him out. He's got nowhere to go. Like, what is he going to do? He's just like, yeah, exactly.
It's something it seems like something they do once a week.
Yeah.
Like they meet up.
They're friends. They're buds.
Yeah.
And then the real quick at the end where he gives him like the rare mint pennies.
Yeah.
Like, I had enough to buy this new watch. It's a Rolex.
It conveniently has $2,000 to finish this plot line.
I'll buy the rest of those shares.
Yeah, he's like the missing piece to like solve the plot.
$2,000.
It's all about karma.
Yeah.
Because George was nice to him at the beginning, so he helped him out.
Wow, thanks, mister. Thanks a whole lot.
But Dad... Shut up!
Happy birthday, Dad.
Anything he said was funny just because of the way he talked.
A great like one-off character is like snooty rich son.
Yeah.
Will always be funny. And then the one shining moment of that other guy who comes in the big white cowboy hat. Like, take that ridiculous thing off. Rips the mustache off instead of the big hat.
That's also one of my top moments of the movie is that gag. It's just the ripping off the mustache. One quote we didn't say when the Conan the Librarian bit was like, "Don't you know the Dewey Decimal System?"
Also a classic.
Yep.
Absolutely a classic. I think that might be my number 3 one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a lot of quotes for this movie. I think we've been light on the quotes in the movies we've been covering lately, but we're making up for it with today's episode.
With UHF.
Pretty much every line
So
in the
much.
movie.
So many quotes.
A quote, yeah.
We didn't really mention much about the beginning. It opens up with like an Indiana Jones parody. It's funny. I like it bookends with like Indiana Jones and Rambo, basically.
Yeah.
You remember what I was saying with his music, where it's like I've never heard Gangster's Paradise, but I've heard Amish Paradise. I had seen this before seeing Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Whoa.
Yeah. Which explains why I'm a Kingdom of the Crystal Skull fan. But that's another story for another time.
I did like that the idol that they're chasing after is like an Oscar, basically, that they're trying to get. And then also I just love like when he steals the idol and he's running away, it's like watch for falling rocks, and he just like gets it's like giant rocks just land on him and he keeps running.
Yeah. Ooh, it's like real quick. And then he just keeps going like it was nothing.
My favorite part about that is where he gets hit by the train.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy jumps out of the cave and a train
Slowly backs out.
I like when he like is running from the boulder through various landscapes and turns on like a city corner and the rock also turns to follow him.
Yeah.
Point is, you have to see this movie to fully enjoy it. You can't truly enjoy it just by us trying to convince you to watch it and by quoting it.
We haven't talked about. There's some other characters we haven't really talked about. Philo. I feel like his best contribution is just turning into an alien at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Which
was
as a
just out of-
child genuinely scared me.
Yeah.
But kind of embarrassing. Like old enough to remember being visibly scared by this and thinking I'm too old to be scared by this.
Yeah.
I like even he gets a show like Secrets of the Universe, and it's like today I'll be teaching you how to make plutonium out of common household objects. Let's begin.
It's good to know in the deleted scenes they give you a full recipe.
Yeah.
So what does he say? Set your microwave to 8,000
to 8,000 degrees. Yeah. There's Noodles Macintosh.
Macintosh.
No,
Noodles
I don't see a
McIntyre.
Noodles McIntyre.
Yeah,
Macintosh.
Fran Treasure
Ta-da.
is the
I felt
The whole
so
news
bad
crew.
for him when he got a boo-boo on his elbow.
Yeah.
actually broke my heart. Noodles getting tripped and
Heartbreaking.
scraping.
Top 10 most anime deaths.
Most anime deaths. Number 1, Noodles Macintosh.
Well, we haven't even talked about the love interest.
Hate her. Least favorite part of the movie.
just
It's
changes
just to
her
move the
mind.
plot.
After he breaks into her house and like puts all the creepy
Mm-hmm.
decorations, that like we don't get any more development other than her. Rather
Yeah.
than the next scene with her is she goes to RJ Fletcher to stand up for George. And I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Has your mind been changed because of his like very creepy gesture? And
This
his
should be a
insane amount of
movie
voicemails?
about being broken up with because you're creative and then living your best life. This shouldn't be like, I need to get the girl back.
That's La La Land.
I was reminded of the scene like near the beginning when she like makes dinner for him, and the scene with the mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen like Close Encounters. I don't know if you guys knew.
I still haven't seen that
That's a
movie.
reference to Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah.
Oh, the way he's like carving the mashed
Yeah, he's
potatoes.
like shaping it into this mound. He's like, this is important.
That
This
was
means
one of the
means
first.
something.
That was one of the first scenes where everyone else laughed in the room, and I was like, I should probably watch more movies. As an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Fast forward to today, I still haven't seen that.
Yeah,
movie.
right.
I've seen it once just so I could understand the reference.
Right.
Basically.
It's all about Weird Al.
Was there any other moments like that in the movie that you hadn't seen? You didn't get the reference?
Gone with the Wind. At the
Okay.
end.
I knew she was gonna say
I knew
that.
she was gonna say that. I think I've seen that one time, maybe.
I just haven't seen that one.
I don't know.
Since doing this podcast, I always thought I was a film buff and everything, but the more I've done this and more I realize how much of not of a film buff I am. I just love movies. I'm a movie buff. I'm not a film buff.
Yeah.
You're a movie fan.
I like that.
And I've realized I'm more of an expert on children's cinema than anything.
Well, when you're a kid, that's what the majority of your life you've lived.
Well, yes.
As of right now, as a kid, right?
Yeah. But like I never continued. I just stuck with it.
It's all right. Hey, people need to start this is totally tangent. Like, actually, no, it's not even connected to anything we're talking about.
It's fine.
But
I'll leave it in.
No, cut this. Actually, cut this. People need to appreciate animation as a medium and not a genre.
Yes.
Not all animation movies are the same, or tell the same type of story. They're so different. It's such a beautiful and creative way to tell different types of stories. Also, another reason why I'm anti-subtitles. Gotcha! This is still an anti-subtitle rant. The amount of work that goes into every single frame of an animation movie, like, it's like every frame is a painting that was built for you to watch, right? And, like, I hate missing out on any second of that.
Yeah.
That's why animation needs to be appreciated more, not looked down on as like a children's thing. Like, majority of the adult movies that I love are like animated adult movies.
And yes, and I agree. And while you're at it, people need to stop being freaked out by Chicken Run and Polar Express. Those are
freaked
beautiful
out-
animation
people are freaked out by
styles.
Chicken Run?
Yeah, they don't like claymation.
Oh, that's true. I forgot people
The
don't
stop
like
motion can be kind of.
it. Only when they're turning them into
jarring.
chicken pies. It's the
Yeah.
only part where it's freaky, but
But Polar Express, people hate on that because it's creepy.
it's too uncanny. It's too close to looking like it's real. That's why people don't like it.
Whatever.
I also have to mention that the Hawaiian shirt that Weird Al wears at the end of this movie, like during the telethon and stuff, probably my all-time favorite Hawaiian shirt.
How much would you spend on eBay if
100
that was on there?
$100,
The shirt,
which
that he
isn't that
wore.
much, but I would. That is a good amount for a Hawaiian shirt, though.
Sure. You'd spend more than that. I know you.
Are you talking about like the actual one?
No,
Yes,
the
the one he wore in the
actual
movie.
shirt that he
that
wore.
he sweat in. He probably still wears it.
Okay.
I saw
What
a
if he
news
was-
interview with him, and he was like showing off his closet, and it was like 300 like Hawaiian shirts. And he's like,
What if
yeah,
he
he's like,
sold it?
my wife's been actually trying to get me to pare these down, like trying to get rid of some of these.
What if he was selling it on an auction for charity?
To keep channel.
Well, then I wouldn't be able to
62
afford it
alive.
because then you know
Right. I feel like that would belong in a museum,
should
like hard rock,
like the
hard rock.
Smithsonian Museum.
No.
in a
Not the Hard
Twinkie
Rock.
Wiener sandwich.
Rock,
Like they'll just like
Northern
spray it in
Indiana.
hairspray to like make it solid.
It's already preserved.
like in a block
It's
of epoxy.
He's right. It's already preserved.
It's not rotting anytime soon.
I think we should talk a little bit about the Weird Al biopic with Daniel Radcliffe, because we all watched that together.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
Felt like it was meant to be the spiritual successor to UHF in a way. In its like very like goofy take while maintaining a serious atmosphere. It definitely didn't hit the same like instant classic, like cult classic hit that UHF kind of had.
Yeah.
But almost in a good way. Like it knew that UHF existed and like decided to stand next to it rather than fill the same space.
You know, I'm kind of with you there, but instead of UHF, I think it's the spiritual successor to The Complete Al.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
No, what's that?
Is it only on VHS?
I think it is on DVD now, but when I got it, that's another Weird Al purchase on eBay, was The Complete Al on VHS. I guess it was in the late 80s. It actually may have been even before UHF came out.
Oh.
And it's like you have to see it.
Right when
Watch
Ito
it.
came out.
Yeah.
Do this next, yeah.
It's basically like that, like a mockumentary sort of, like biopic of his life, sort of up to that point. Like there's this whole like dramatic recreation of him going to Michael Jackson to get permission to do Beat It or Eat It. And there's a lot of great bits in that.
Does
and
Weird Al
honestly,
play himself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's him. And it's not really, it's a mixture of like all of his classic 80s music videos, but also like it's got segments in it. And I don't know. It's more like UHF than like a movie.
bet there's a.
I don't know.
Okay.
I bet it's on YouTube.
And I think that is more like pure Weird Al humor than like the Weird Al, like the weird biopic.
Yeah.
And I liked it. It had a lot of good moments in it and stuff. It was funny. It was worth watching. But I didn't think it was as good as the Complete Al for us Weird Al purists, you know. I also didn't think it was that necessary.
Oh, the auditions. I forgot
The
about
auditions
that.
was good. There's quotes in that we quote also.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I'll get it.
Sorry.
That's just for me and Jeremy.
Gotcha. I'll sit this one out.
So the whole like weird biopic was like they made a Funny or Die sketch like in 2011 or something like that, and it was like for like a trailer for like Weird Al the biopic movie, you know, the Weird Al
That was the
story.
Joke, was that it was a trailer for
And
a
it was-
movie
yeah,
that
it
would
was
never
like-
exist.
Exactly. And I feel like this was just so I knew I was basically going to get the same thing with that except for longer. So I don't know if they necessarily needed to make it. I feel like the joke was probably already played out with just like the sketch on Funny or Die. At the same time, I did love seeing just Daniel Radcliffe as Weird Al. I thought that was
Pretty Weird Al.
that was wild to think Harry Potter as Weird Al.
Yeah.
What a diverse
It was
actor.
it was worth watching.
When I
for
first
that.
saw that announcement, I thought it was an Onion article.
I mean that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it took me a while
Yeah.
to understand, like, oh, this is actually a real movie.
I don't think I believed it at first either.
Like, I think a couple weeks after it had been released, I was still
Yeah.
like, maybe this is real.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I'm not getting punked.
Roku TV, that's not real.
That's not... I think one of the best bits was him like dying in the end. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert for Weird, the Al Yankovic Story.
The tombstone just like ate it 1985 or something like that. Well, I guess we're about time to wrap it up. I did want to talk about, you know, what is our Letterboxd review of this movie? Have you given any thought of that? Ranking this movie on like a scale of 1 to 5 stars?
Ooh, I'm not like a letterbox guy. Like, I don't have a letterbox account. I don't rank any movies.
Okay.
And but if you were to ask me to do this, I fully have to put aside like my personal love for the movie.
Okay.
To, you know,
You don't have to.
oh, I will.
Okay.
I won't.
Because if
Actually, yeah, I will.
yeah, like if it's just me and what do I love it, I'm giving this a 4.5 out of 5. Like, I will always come back to this unless I'm like real tired and can't deal with the pacing. I'm always coming back to watch this. If I'm giving this movie what I think like critically, like if I were going all snooty film critic on it, I'd give it maybe like a 2.5, maybe a 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what Roger Ebert had to say about this movie. Play the clip.
UHF is the first feature film by Weird Al Yankovic, who has made a reputation over the last 10 years for his parodies of hit songs and music videos. He's funny at 2 minutes, but at 2 hours, he's not so funny. I think the problem may be that Weird Al has spent his entire career making little pieces of film and video that are about 2 minutes long and kind of funny, and now when he's trying to work at feature length, he can't make the story go that whole distance. If this had been a movie, all the way about that funny little UHF station, it might have been funny, but it's so chopped up and so disconnected that I found myself not laughing at all. I was very disappointed. I give UHF 1 star, and I'm Roger Ebert.
Okay, no, that's enough. We don't care.
Wrong.
Dude, my favorite, okay, this is not a Superman podcast, but the one and only quote I'll ever say from the Superman movie, wrong!
Man will never.
Wrong. So wrong. Roger Ebert completely missed the point of this movie. I agree. I'm going to go ahead and give my letterbox. I know Jonathan's a 5 out of 5 already. I'm going 4.5.
Okay.
Just because I think it took itself as a movie too seriously. Now that's crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's something I never
You're
thought I'd ever
talking
say.
gibberish.
But
Shut up, you little weasel!
that's another quote. Anyways, I'm giving it a 4.5 because it takes itself too seriously. As a movie, like, my least favorite parts are what make this a movie.
Yeah,
You know?
yes.
So, like,
yeah.
the plot points and the things that moves the story forward, least favorite parts of the movie, I would have been just as happy, and I would have given it a 5 out of 5 if it was just a fade to black and then the next.
Yeah. Which again is like stuff that like modern movies and TV shows are. Like they're all like this goofy, like disjointed. It's like that's what the people like. I'm gonna say this movie is way ahead of its time.
And behind it.
This movie is nebulous.
So I wouldn't give it a 5 out of 5 just because in that way it kind of makes it exhausting to watch. But super near and dear to my heart. Super staple of my childhood. But even more of Jonathan's. And also can't give it just as good or better review as Jonathan can. So, Jonathan, what's your letterbox review?
All right, I've got an essay written here, but I'm just going to tear it all up and speak from the heart.
Okay.
I give this 1 out of 5. No.
Oh, man.
You called it. I give it a 5 out of 5. At one point in my life, this was my favorite movie, of all time. If someone asked me what my favorite movie was, UHF.
But
you never heard of it? Let's watch it.
But now it's Midnight Madness.
And now it's Midnight Madness.
Yeah.
I've softened on that. I don't know that I would say this is like my favorite movie of all time, but it's in my top 5.
Okay.
I mean, when I have like on Letterboxd, if you have an account on there, you can put your like top 4 or whatever, and this is one of them.
Better or worse than National Treasure? Don't answer that. I don't want to know.
You don't want to know. National Treasure is not on that list.
I said
UHF
I didn't want
is.
to know.
That doesn't give you an answer. I'm just saying it's not on the list, and that could be a mistake. That could be an oversight.
Anyways.
No, this movie has pacing issues. It slows down and then has just random hilarious moments that are the funniest things I've ever seen.
Really make it shine.
Yes.
I just love it because it's Weird Al. It's that zany type of humor that I love. And I'm not taking the nostalgia blinders off for this one. I'm going to keep them on. 5 out of 5.
Absolutely no way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to look if this movie was streaming anywhere because we just have the DVD of it. But it actually is on YouTube, like with commercials.
For
like
free?
with ads.
All
so
right.
Really?
if anyone wants to watch this movie, to know what we're talking about,
Watch
or
it for
just
free.
or
Please
just
do it.
watch it on YouTube, or like find some clips, because that's probably the best part, honestly, is just some of the segments of the TV shows that they're parodying. So yeah, watch it on YouTube. Do you have any lessons learned from this movie, Jeremy? Any
Always
takeaways?
stick with the red snapper when you have the chance. Never go for what's inside the box.
That's legitimate advice, I think.
Yeah.
Never take risks in life, I think.
No,
is what
I
it's trying to
definitely
tell
would.
you.
I'm always taking the box every single time. Over a rotting fish that's been on a wheel, I'm taking the box.
What about you, Jason? Anything off the top of the dome?
It will always be worth it to find the marble in the oatmeal.
Yes.
You get to drink from the fire hose, baby.
There is one quote in this movie that has really always stuck with me, and it's just good life advice when things aren't really going your way. Sometimes you got to grab life by the lips and yank as hard as you can.
Because he's
And
Weird
that's-
Al Yankovic.
And that's got me through some tough days, you know?
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So real.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess it's time to wrap it up here.
Yes.
Jason, thanks for being on the show with us.
Thanks
It's
for
been a long
having
time
me.
coming. I know we've talked about having you on, and
Yeah.
finally we've made it happen. So.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be here. This is so much fun. I didn't know just how much fun it was going to be. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Anything you want to plug?
Oh man, yeah. Come check out the Underground Donut Tour. We have locations all across the U.S., Canada, and Europe. Absolutely fun way to see a new city and also eat a lot of donuts, get a slice of the food scene in a new city. Check us out, especially in Nashville or Chicago or any major city near you. Check us out at www.undergrounddonuttour.com. If you use the promo code Donuts10, you'll get 10% off your ticket price.
Wow.
Are you for real?
I'm for real, yeah. It might be Donut 10, not
Wait,
Donuts
you made
10. I'm not sure.
Has that always been a thing, or you just made that a thing?
That's always the thing. This is promos. I'm plugging, man.
I thought
I'm
you were
plugging,
gonna let
dude.
us say we
This
got
is-
our first sponsor.
This is like the most legit plug we've ever had
That was
on the
so
show.
rehearsed. Most people were just like, "Yeah, I'm on like Instagram or Letterboxd at like at blah blah blah."
Nah, man, come check out my food tour, dude.
Absolutely.
It's so much fun. Yeah.
We have
Do
been
it.
on it, and
Yeah.
it is amazing. So
Look at this.
you
Look
should
at
go
this.
to
If
it.
you like donuts, I mean,
Who doesn't?
who doesn't?
Bagel Ben.
It's in the name.
Bagel Ben
Bagel
can
Ben's
take
tours.
Bagel Ben can take a crowbar and smash my head in.
And if
Bagel
you
Ben
don't,
was an intern at Channel 8.
and if you don't book one of these tours now, Jason is gonna club a baby seal.
So yeah, go do that. That's awesome. Stanley Spadowski is getting the Chicken Joe Award.
Oh, yeah,
He's my favorite character.
pure of heart.
That is it. That's all I have to say.
All right.
My
Thanks.
favorite's Cooney.
Ooh, yeah.
Who's your favorite?
Favorite character?
Yeah.
Raul.
I'm glad we have separate ones. That's great. Well, another day, another staple. The only question we have left is, what's your favorite inside quote from UF?
Do you know that's how you say the French word for egg?
No way.
Yeah, it's pronounced oof.
Let us know on Instagram at Inside Quotes Cast. Your favorite inside quote from UF, not UHF.
And if you haven't followed us, go ahead and do that, and let us know if there are any movies you want us to cover on the show.
So next week, we've got a hint. Next week, we'll be covering a British film that is near and dear to my heart. So we'll see about that next week.
Here's a clip.
I'm sorry, Gromit. I know you're doing this for my own good, but the fact is, I'm just crackers about cheese. Look, if I must change my ways, at least let me do it my way. With technology. It's time we tried my latest invention. The mind manipulation-o-matic.
Our show art was done by Bryce Bridgman, and you can find him on Instagram at GroovyBridge.
And our music was done by Alex Bird.
And we would love it if you left us a 5-star review. And if you do, we promise to read it right here live on the show.
But more importantly, 5 stars, and we'll teach your poodle how to fly.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We hope you enjoyed listening to us talk about our childhood staples just as much as we have. And if you did, make sure you hit follow on Apple Podcasts or Spotify so that you don't miss out on a future episode.
Also, if you like the show, share it with a friend. You're going to redo that one?
No, I loved it. I like the laugh. It was
That was
perfect.
great. Yours was great.
Until next week, we'll see you next time on Inside Quotes on U62.
Next time, we'll unlock the secrets of Al Capone's glove box.
Aha.
Road maps!